UFC Atlanta. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Also note, I will be live for the entire card Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight on the card. Ladies going after it. We have Vanessa Demopoulos versus Jamie Lynn Horth. I'm going to pick Jamie Lynn Horth to get the win. Demopoulos coming in on short notice, trying to move up in weight and take a chance here at women's flyweight. She's kind of small for 115 pounds at 5'2". Now she's moving up, taking on Jamie Lynn Horth, who's a full-size flyweight at 5'7", with a reach advantage of 6.5 inches. Think she'll be able to outmuscle her. If they tie up and go to the ground, I expect Jamie Lynn Horth to be the one that wins the wrestling battles. Normally, Vanessa Demopoulos has, pretty effective jiu-jitsu. I know you're going to say, oh, but look at her last two fights. To be fair, she was fighting like elite caliber jiu-jitsu practitioners in the past two. Normally, Vanessa Demopoulos' ground skills are solid. Jamie Lynn Horth on the other side, she's a big, strong girl, though. She can wrestle a bit. She's got strong pressure. She's strong inside of the clinch, a little bit with the dirty boxing in close range. Her striking is okay. I'd say she's a relatively decent kickboxer. She doesn't really do anything amazing, but I feel like she's a bigger girl that can impose her will on Vanessa Demopoulos. I mean, Demopoulos definitely has solid striking. She throws big punches. She's got decent bounce to her style, and I'd say she's a scrappy and fun fighter to watch for the most part. I don't like the idea of her moving up in weight. I think this is actually a big mistake taking this fight on short notice, especially with her already being on a 2-fight losing streak. So your back is against the wall, being down 2 fights. And then it's like, okay, let's move up and weight and let's take on a girl who, even though, isn't the most impressive, prospect, and she's not a prospect, she's 35. She did give me Miranda Maverick an okay fight. She was tough in that fight, to say the least. And Maverick's in the co-main event here. Fight before, bad fight against Petrovic. She won a close decision, and Petrovic is not good. And then Veronica Hardy and her went after it in a pretty close fight. She beat Haley Cohen in a close fight, too. I think that Jamie Lynn Horth can outwork D-Mop over the 3 rounds. I have to favor Horth to win a decision, to back D-Mop up, maybe control her a bit against the cage, strike better from the outside. I just think Little Monster is going to struggle up 10 pounds, and she's coming on short notice. I think she's going to be in shape and tough enough to go hard, but I feel like you got to favor the size advantage for sure. I'm going to pick Jamie Lynn Horth. I think she wins the decision. I think that size is a factor, and she's a minus 450 favorite too, which I actually did not expect. What was the opening odds? Minus 350? Damn. She's a wide favorite here. I didn't even realize the odds here. I didn't see them on Tapology. And Jamie Lynn Horth, damn, she probably shouldn't be a minus 450 against anybody. But I do think the likelihood of success for her is extremely high. And I think she's beaten D-Mop in this one. Let's see if the over is worth anything here. All right, we got to see. Is there any value on these lines? Minus 400 for over 2.5. I anticipate this fight going long. Jamie Lynn Horth shouldn't have the jiu-jitsu skills to submit a Demopoulos. And she also doesn't seem to have the power to put Demopoulos away. Like, is Jamie Lynn Horth loading up on bombs, landing the perfect counter, and putting Vanessa Demopoulos on her ass and then finishing her off with ground and pound strikes? Highly unlikely. And I don't think D-Mop has the power to do damage. That's a big factor as well, is with D-Mop moving up in weight. Though I feel like she sits on her shots well and throws hard, against a girl a lot bigger than her, I just don't think the power is going to be a substantial factor or much of a factor. And it's not like D-Mop has this crazy one-punch KO power, but she wings some heat into her punches. But even if she lands clean on the chin, Horth being the bigger girl, I think she eats that shit. I think she pressures D-Mop. You think with a taller fighter, she just wants to strike on the outside. I'm not sure with Jamie Lynn Horth. I could see her tying up with D-Mop, pressing her up against the cage and just imposing her will. And either way, I'm going to pick Jamie Lynn Horth to win. I'm going to say that the proper flyweight gets the W over the strawweight, looking to move up and maybe breathe some new life into her career. But to be honest, I don't think Vanessa Demopoulos is in a horrible position at 115 pounds. She's lost 2 in a row to girls that can grapple really well. If I'm the UFC, I'd be giving her fights that are fun at 115 pounds. If I was her management, I would have advised against this matchup. I think Jamie Lynn Horth takes a decision. That's it. That's all I got to say about that one. I think Demopoulos team mistake taking this fight. Chance, maybe, she lands something, but she's not going to get a stoppage. She's going to have to outwork Horth, who's a lot larger than her, for 3 rounds, and she's coming in on short notice. I don't like the chances. Next fight, Phil Rowe versus Ange Loosa. I'm going with Phil Rowe. That was the initial instinct, too. I was like, all right, I think Phil Rowe could beat an Ange Loosa. I'll say this about Phil Rowe. His boxing is really sharp, but it hasn't looked great in a little while. I mean, the fight against Neil Magny, I actually thought he put up a great performance and could have even got the decision. His hands didn't look bad in that fight. He was able to outbox Magny, but Magny just relentless with that pressure. It was a damn close one. To be honest, the decision could have went to either guy. And then fight before, though, he looked scary against Nico Price. He beat Nico Price up, man. He picked his shots really nicely against him and then found that KO win. And, say what you want about Nico Price. He was still able to beat Alex Morono, which I think demands some respect in their rematch. And I think a Phil Rowe win over Price 2.5 years ago, though it's not like super relevant, it's kind of a thought process that I have. Okay, well, Phil Rowe can still perform in the UFC. Like, he could have a good boxing display here. Ange Loosa is not all that good. I mean, he's not bad either. Ange Loosa is kind of like lukewarm for me. I feel like I rate Phil Rowe's boxing as better than Ange Loosa's. I would say Loosa's probably the heavier kicker, but being at a good disadvantage in height and reach, I don't really think he's going to be snapping body kicks and low kicks out there. And if he is, I think there's going to be return fire from Phil Rowe with big straight punches. Honestly, Phil Rowe with a stiff jab and a good 2 that follows could find a lot of success against Ange Loosa. Where Ange Loosa has the edge is pure physicality. I mean, you don't even need to watch tape to see it. You can just look. The builds are completely different. You have Ange Loosa, who's built like a stocky power lifter. Then you have Phil Rowe, who's built like a basketball player. I think that Phil Rowe can use movement and boxing and defend the clinch. Though Loosa is strong and I see him being able to potentially hold Phil Rowe against the cage, Loosa doesn't have crazy effective dirty boxing, nor does he put a pace out there like an Andreas Gustafsson who uses the dirty boxing really well. I think Rowe can land some good punches in this fight. I think Rowe could fight off some takedown attempts from Loosa. I will say, pure jiu-jitsu wise, Phil Rowe grapples a lot. I understand he catches L's against some of the highest level guys in the game, but Phil Rowe does have long limbs and like pretty decent jiu-jitsu, which at the least I think can be effective in getting back up to his feet, working reversals, maybe threatening with some type of choke, or even if he's able to hurt an Ange Loosa, taking the back of Ange Loosa, Phil Rowe could potentially lock up a rear naked, which I'm not super high on him getting a finish. Don't get it twisted. As I break this fight down, I'm not saying that Rowe is club and subbing him, but if he is to hurt Ange Loosa, the length, the jiu-jitsu skill set that's kind of there, I feel like he could lock something up. I think that it's a close fight. I think it's a hard-fought win for Phil Rowe. I think he can win the boxing exchanges for sure. I don't think Loosa is going to be super effective with his offensive wrestling, and I think that Rowe can find some good straights in this one and sting Loosa up with some power shots, even if they're not, dropping him to the floor or even busting him up. I think they'll at the very least inhibit that forward pressure from Ange Loosa a bit. And another factor is they're in the big cage, which I like a lot for the taller guy in Phil Rowe who wants to box here. I'm going to say Phil Rowe can win a back and forth fight, and I'll pick him to beat Ange Loosa in this matchup here. Loosa last time out, Bonefin beat him, and what he showed there is insane toughness. Loosa is tough as fuck, so getting a KO against him, tough. Hard to say, and I'd say, relatively unlikely. But on the side of Phil Rowe, definitely I see better hands. Definitely I see better movement and sharper striking. Loosa's more the powerhouse. And I think Phil Rowe, he could turn up. He was looking good against Neil Magny, and then, he was expected to perform against Jake Matthews, who ended up handling him. But I think Matthews a lot quicker with his offensive striking than Loosa is, and Phil Rowe can still touch. I think Phil Rowe is better than given credit for sure. And his issue, though, against Matthews is he closed range a bit too much, which I think, can learn from that mistake and be like, okay, in this fight here against Loosa, let me be the matador, but let me at least hold my ground a bit and put on pressure when need be and sting up Loosa with some big shots. I think it's possible Phil Rowe does it. I'm going to go with the competitive dog, plus 130. It makes sense that the odds are around this region. It's not like Ange Loosa looks sensational. Like, think back to the fight with Ange Loosa and Reese McGee. I don't think he looked great in that fight. Loosa opened up as the underdog. Now he's a minus 140 favorite. So that's crazy. They flipped the line. The money must be coming in on Loosa. I get it. He's been a bit more active, but I'm never watching a Loosa fight and like, yo, I'm so impressed by the offense. I'm always like, okay, well, he is tough. He takes a good shot. But I think Phil Rowe can be more effective with striking. Over 2.5 is minus 240. I feel like the chances of them going long are relatively high here. I think Rowe in a close one can win. I think he can sting Loose up with some straights, use the long advantage and height and reach, which I think is a big factor. Not an easy win at all. And I mean, as I'm sitting here breaking it down, I'm like trying to see Losa's side. If Losa can outmuscle him, drag him to the floor, or beat him up in the clinch, Phil Rowe's style is negated. But if he can create a bit of space and fight out of some grappling attempts, I think he's definitely the better boxer. And I'll say Phil Rowe squeaks by. Competitive fight. We got 10-4 versus 10-5. At the end of the day, you could call it a flip a coin type of fight. I'm going to take Phil Rowe to win a close one. I'm going with the Fresh Prince in Atlanta. Next fight, we got Ricky Simón versus Charles Jourdain. I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain to beat Ricky Simón. I like Charles Jourdain. I've been, kind of a fan for a long while. When he was fighting at featherweight, I always enjoyed a Charles Jourdain striking display. And at 135, I think it's a lot better for him. He was always a tad bit short for 145 pounds, but he was still able to make a competitive fight with the super tall Sean Woodson and go to a close decision. Obviously, John Silva slept him, but John Silva is a monster. John Silva's the contender to watch at 145. And then Jourdain's debut, he was throwing up ghillie attempts on Victor Henry. He was outstriking him. Got taken down a little bit, but Jourdain is active from the bottom. He works to get up. He scrambles pretty well. He uses his legs well, too, from bottom position to create space. And he does throw up submission attempts. He really likes that counter ghillie. Ricky Simón is a hard-nosed wrestler. Listen, we got Merab versus Sean O'Malley 2 at home is this fight. And I think this time, the striker pulls through. I do believe Charles Jourdain's defensive grappling can be effective here. Ricky Simón is definitely a pressure-based powerhouse who's got good wrestling. For God's sake, he's got a W over Merab on the resume. He posted on his Instagram too, me at the bar. I beat that guy one time, and it was a picture of Adesanya. It's also Ricky Simón with this damn Merab fight. That's funny. I think that Simón is tough for sure. I mean, he's the essence of toughness. I mean, he had a good fight with Mario Batista. Went into the 5th round against Song Yadong. He lost to Vinicius Oliveira, who's just a monstrous talent, but still tough and goes 3 hard rounds. Simón's toughness is never something you overlook. Knocked out Basharat last time, but go watch closely on that Basharat fight. He was getting caught with some good shots to the body, knees up the center to the body, snapping kicks to the body, straights to the body. I think Charles Jourdain is a good amount better than Javid Basharat. And I understand Basharat was knocked out in the 1st round. But taking away the positives of what Basharat did, I can see Charles Jourdain building on that. I don't see Ricky Simón flatline KOing Jourdain. I think that Simón is going to look to bring pressure, look to bring multi-shot boxing combos. He's got the tight Mexican-style boxing. He's going to be looking to rip big shots in the pocket and throw hard. Definitely expect some wild exchanges from Simón, who he scraps like a savage dog, and he's really strong, really in shape. The wrestling game is pretty good. He's got really good takedowns, but it's not like he's got the best control ever. You can get up from Ricky Simón if you scramble hard enough, and I think Charles Jourdain's scramble ability is good enough. And I think if we get outside of the 1st round, the grappling defense is better and the striking success is better. I think the gap in the striking shows itself after the first 5 minutes of this fight. I think Charles Jourdain's going to be pretty accurate with body attacks. I do think he can drop some quick punches on Ricky Simón too and sting him bad. I feel like Charles Jourdain is going to win this fight. I think it's going to be competitive and hard fought, and I think Simon's going to be a dog per usual. But I think Jourdain lands more significant strikes in the fight. And I feel like the move down to 145 isn't going to, excuse me, to 135 from 145. It's not going to be a failed experiment. I think it's going to work for Charles Jourdain. And I think he can get past the Ricky Simón test. It's not going to be an easy fight. He's definitely going to be pushed to the breaking point. But I think Jourdain has the scramble ability to get back on his feet. And I think he's definitely better at striking, and he's going to land more significant strikes. And I think Charles Jourdain is finally coming into his own. He's 29. He's been in the UFC for years. Finally decided to cut down to 135. He started his UFC career in the damn lightweight division. I think this is going to be a checkmate for Charles Jourdain, and I think he keeps moving up the ranks. He's been good for a long time. It's just consistently putting it together. He was at the wrong weight class. And I think the striker wins. I like Charles Jourdain. I think that he pulls through. Jourdain is sitting at plus 140 as the dog here. So good size underdog tag for Jourdain. I think he does pull through as a dog. I know he's not going to will to give up on himself. I know he's ready for 3 hard. We've seen him go 3 hard numerous times. Simón minus 160. And Jourdain's been in there against decent opposition. I mean, the Shane Burgos fight back in the day, obviously Nathaniel Wood beat him. But that's 2022, man. It's a long time ago. And his losses recently are to Powerhouse and guy who is literally like a damn foot taller than his ass. The win against Victor Henry was pretty nice. And I think that he's going to come into his own even more so in this sophomore appearance in the UFC bantamweight division. I'm going Jourdain to win. I'm going to say plus money is very live to hit on this fight here. I like the underdog. Let's see the over here. Over 2.5 minus 230. I do anticipate this fight going distance. I think striking of Jourdain is the ultimate difference maker between the two. The speed advantage, the technical striking, the explosiveness. He's good on the feet, man. I like Jourdain's kickboxing a lot here. And at 135, I really think his style and his frame is perfect for this division. And Ricky Simón, hard-nosed test for sure, but a guy that I see Jourdain getting past. So I'm going with Charles Jourdain to pull through. And I'm damn excited for this fight, actually. I really like the matchup. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Cody Durden versus Jose Ochoa. The pick here is hell. The pick here is hell for me. I feel like Jose Ochoa is going to beat him. I like Cody Durden, and I'm not just trying to pick him because he's been on the show before either. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying, oh, I'm having a hard time because I'm a fan of the guy or he's a cool dude. No, I'm saying it because it's a really intriguing test. Jose Ochoa is a fast twitch kickboxer. Jose Ochoa looks really sharp, and he seems to have high-ass potential. Shoot that box, Diego Lima guy. I think that team is kind of on a comeback trail right now, and I feel like Ochoa's game just as soon as I saw tape before that fight against Kavanaugh, I was like, yo, Ochoa's got a bright future in this sport. Ochoa's really clean, man. I think that he's going to win this fight against Cody Durden. Durden, he's 1-3 in his last 4. That one win was against Matt Schnell, and then he was knocked out badly by Bruno Silva the fight before, and he was winning moments of that fight, definitely. But that loss hasn't really aged well with Bruno Silva getting destroyed by Joshua Van and Manel Kopp in his next 2. Fight before that, Ulanbekov subbed him, and most recently, Joshua Van beat Cody Durden up on the feet for 3 hard rounds. Durden brought a little bit of wrestling pressure early, but that was about it, and then he was getting boxed up. I feel like this fight obviously is a different stylistic matchup. Jose Ochoa is not Joshua Van. But I will say, Durden's wrestling early in the fight. I think he can get at the legs of Ochoa, back him up against the cage. But what happens after round 1? And I don't think Durden is finishing him in round 1. I think that Ochoa is going to be pretty resilient with his grappling defense. Even if he's taken down, I expect him to be active for the get-up, active with threats from the bottom, active with strikes from the bottom. And I think when we get into the striking realm, I have to favor Jose Ochoa's kickboxing over what we've seen lately from Cody Durden on the feet. I think Ochoa is a tad bit too sharp. I'm sorry, Cody Durden. Listen, I'm rooting for Durden. He's a good man, hardworking, savage, and he definitely could win. It's just I think Ochoa is too damn sharp, man. This Ochoa fight against Kavanaugh, I was like, yo, Ochoa's got potential. And Kavanaugh, I mean, right now, he's kind of come into a flow state, beat Felipe Dos Santos, fighting Charles Johnson. And Ochoa's debut against like the hot prospect of 125 pounds, and then Ochoa doing big damage to the body in round two. I feel like I can't overlook it. I think that Ochoa beats Cody Durden in a hard fight. I expect some big shots to the body. I understand he lacks the experience, but then on the flip side, it's like Durden's lost 7 fights and he's lost 3 of his last 4. And his win is against Matt Schnell, who was losing in moments to Jimmy Flick. I don't know where Durden's at right now at 34. It's not that he's, too old, right? I just think I got to go with the youth factor, the hot prospect factor, the potential. And I guess we're also going with a little faith. This is like, in essence, kind of like the Waldo Cortez Acosta Spivak fight. Obviously, it's completely different, but it comes down to how does one fighter react to the takedown? If Jose Ochoa is stopping Cody Durden's wrestling onslaught, I think Jose Ochoa is the better kickboxer. I think he's winning the striking. If Durden is successful with the takedowns, getting on top on the reg throughout this fight, yeah, Ochoa's fucked. But I think that this shoot their box Diego Lima kid is good. And I think Ochoa also has underrated Muay Thai. Look at the clinch work. Knees to the body in the clinch. I think that will make Cody Durden pay bad as he's looking to potentially tie up and shoot. And I think Ochoa does some good damage in this fight and pulls this one out. I could see a 29-28 Jose Ochoa hard-fought decision win and a damn good scrap. Dangerous betting side, though, because he's the favorite at -187. It makes you want to go with the vet at +162. And Tapology is 64%. They might be getting a little dog hungry, though. They might be getting a tad bit dog hungry. I think this is a 50-50 matchup for sure, but I think Jose Ochoa is the better striker and he wins it with kickboxing. Can you imagine I say all this and then Ochoa just chokes him out? Listen, shoot the box Diego Lima guy, I bet he's got some nasty Darce chokes, some nasty gillies. Like, I trust that that team has him well prepared as far as his jiu-jitsu skill set is to go. The overs -145, you might be playing with fire because Ochoa could end up getting a sub in this fight. He could definitely get a sub. We've seen Durden subbed up. Yes, it's Ulanbekov, but I think Ochoa by sub is not crazy. I'm actually curious now what that prop's going to look like. When we talk the lines, when we really get in depth with betting side of things for this fight, expect me to be really interested in that because I'm curious now. But I'm going to pick Jose Ochoa to beat Cody Durden. Expect Durden to press him early, but I think that Ochoa finds his range come round 2. And maybe he ends up showcasing that shoot the box Diego Lima jiu-jitsu. Ochoa for the W. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Malcolm Wellmaker versus Kris Moutinho. I'm obviously picking Malcolm Wellmaker to beat Kris Moutinho, but I'm not going to just sit here and say that Moutinho is some scrub and, he's a complete bum and he's 0-2 in the UFC because he fought his ass off to get back to the UFC. I went back and watched the rematch with Cupcake Campbell's. Cupcake beat him back in the day, Johnny Campbell, and Moutinho beat the shit out of Campbell in the rematch. Moutinho looks better. Moutinho's a southpaw who brings pretty good boxing pressure. He showed a great chin taking bombs from Sean O'Malley back, a few years ago. He's definitely got some pop in his hooks, and I'd consider him a pressure-based brawler who's got a bit of wrestling in the arsenal too. And he's been fighting for a long time, 20 pro fights, 14-6, but a 5-fight win streak to his credit. It demands respect, man. It demands a lot of respect. The problem is he's fighting Malcolm Wellmaker, who seems to have the God-given gift of timing. Malcolm Wellmaker can strike at a high level. He's a super elusive and slick boxer. Nasty timing on his punches, and I would say, damn, God tier hand speed. If you really want me to glaze him, I'll be a God tier hand speed. Fast, good straight right, nasty right hook from southpaw. He's a stance switching fighter, and Moutinho will switch up a little bit too. The base is southpaw. I just think Wellmaker has so much sharper weapons. Like, Moutinho's a good pressure boxer, and he definitely can throw hard hooks, and he's actually fairly athletic too. It's just I could see Wellmaker cracking him. And if Moutinho can't get this fight to the ground, and even if Moutinho, is just threatening with takedowns, gets Wellmaker down a couple of times, then they bounce right back up to the feet. I think that makes Moutinho's boxing offense a lot better, right? The takedown threat in this fight will allow, Moutinho to probably find more shots against Wellmaker, who I think is going to be really comfortable just to strike. Now, Malcolm Wellmaker has shown a ton of improvement over the past 2 years, but he did have a close fight against a guy whose name is completely escaping me a while back. It was early in his run. It was 2 years ago, though. He hasn't been fighting pro that long, 2022. It was against this Kamaru kid. He had that split decision win. That kid actually brought some decent pressure early, but Wellmaker still was able to out wrestle him late. So I'm going to have faith that Wellmaker, he definitely has the cardio to go 3 hard. He's gone 5 before. And I think Wellmaker is clearly the slicker striker. I think Moutinho puts a good account for himself, comes to brawl hard, but I do think Wellmaker finds the chin and knocks him out. I hope that Kris Moutinho gets an easier fight, and I hope they keep him for another one, because I definitely respect a guy gritting and grinding his way back to the UFC after getting released. And he was young at the time, late 20s. Now he's 32, coming into that, true man strength. Granted, some of these guys are hitting that prime earlier. I think that Wellmaker's too much of a talent. The knockout of Cameron Simón was amazing. The knockout of Bremhold on Contender was awesome. Malcolm Wellmaker is a special striker, and I think he's able to keep this fight on the feet. I don't think Moutinho has the wrestling chops to drag him down and beat the shit out of him. Though Moutinho's got some ground and pound. His most recent fight was Cupcake Campbell's. Yes, he avenged the loss, but to be fair, Campbell was washed at the time that they rematched up. But Moutinho's gotten better. That's really what I'm trying to get the point across as, is Kris Moutinho has improved since the first UFC run, but he's just getting a terrible matchup off rip, and he's getting knocked out again. And he's shorter by 3 inches. Malcolm Wellmaker KOs him in the first 2 rounds. I think he looks impressive here. I think the timing is on point. He's a huge favorite, as expected. He's minus 1,300, guys. That's crazy. But Moutinho is very unlikely to win. Plus 775. The way Moutinho wins is if Wellmaker gets injured. Knock on wood. I don't want that to happen. Under 1.5, minus 140. I feel like fight ends inside of the first 2 rounds. So I guess the under 1.5 would be a live call. And I think Wellmaker by KO, pretty high likelihood. The KO loss too in his follow-up fight was, I believe, Rojo. Was it Rojo? No, it was Guido Canetti. Guido Canetti knocked him out back in 2022. He looked terrible in that fight. I have to say, he has been fighting kind of meh opposition. This guy's all right, Silva, 8-2, and he avenged the loss. But Moutinho built himself back and got to the UFC again, which I respect a lot. But Malcolm Wellmaker is going to be levels above with way more sophisticated boxing, way cleaner hands, way more accurate hands, and just too much power. Yeah, too much timing. Wellmaker KO first 2 rounds, maybe even first round. He's a huge favorite for a reason. But I want to see more out of Moutinho, though. I hope they give him a fun fight, man. I respect guys that don't quit on themselves and work their way back and don't just fall apart on the regional scene. So I got to respect the grit. But Wellmaker is actually a guy that could break into the top 15. And I'm saying Malcolm Wellmaker with the showcase fight knocks out a former Sean O'Malley victim in Kris Moutinho. Let's pop this in and let's keep going. Next fight on the card, we got Michael Chiesa versus Court McGee. I'm going to pick Michael Chiesa because I think that he is less washed than Court McGee. To be fair, last fight, Michael Chiesa didn't really look washed at all. He actually beat Max Griffin pretty handily with the wrestling strength and then the submission towards the end and even striking with him a bit. Michael Chiesa looked surprisingly fast last fight. He's still real quick in his grappling transitions, and I definitely see him as the more athletic guy between him and Court McGee. What's interesting about this fight, though, is Court McGee's a former middleweight and Chiesa a former lightweight. I never like to pick a former lightweight who's a strong grappler over a former middleweight who's actually a relatively strong grappler too. Michael Chiesa, especially, I'm seeing big favorite status. I don't know, man. He doesn't have a lot of punching power. I'd say he's got a scarecrow boxing style. He kind of throws arm punches a bit, if you want me to keep it real with you. But he has really good jiu-jitsu, really good wrestling. His takedown and control is on point. His upright kickboxing style, I guess, can make him hard to hit at times too, to be fair. Court McGee, he's a bit of a dog as far as the striking goes. Former Ultimate Fighter winner way back in the day. I think it was Tough 11 that he won. My God. That was a season Brad Tavares was on too. He lost to Nick the Promise Ring that season way back. We're throwing it back too long. Chris McCray fought him in the finals. I'm having flashbacks over here. Listen, I think that Michael Chiesa can outwork Court McGee and win the grappling exchanges. Court is 40. He is coming off of a nice W against Tim Means, though, where he looked like he didn't really miss a step. So you see where the concern comes from. Alex Morono, he was able to control him a bit on the ground, and he lost a close fight. He was still in that fight. Of course, he took the L, but he was tough. Granted, Morono doesn't have the grappling of Chiesa. I'll say Chiesa's too primed, even though I don't think he's necessarily in his prime. I think Chiesa's a bit faster. Even if they are striking, I think Chiesa's speed could come to fruition or be a factor come to fruition. You know what I'm saying. I think if they tie up, Chiesa's a little sharper with the takedowns. I think he's got better jiu-jitsu, could threaten with the submission. I don't know, though. I just will say this. I just have this weird feeling about this fight. It's not enough of a weird feeling where I'm going to justify picking potentially, completely washed 40-year-old Court McGee. But Michael Chiesa was also considered to be sloping down pretty bad a few fights ago. Like, yeah, he's put two together, but he beat Tony Ferguson, or at least a corpse of Tony, and he beat Max Griffin. Max Griffin's a striker. Tony's washed. Lost to Kevin Holland by sub. Granted, Holland's got a nasty darce and legit jiu-jitsu. Sean Brady's a grappling menace. And Vicente Luque at the time was still dangerous. Court McGee's losses, the Morono fight, Matt Brown badly knocked him out. Wells badly KO'd him. But he beat Brahimaj 3 years ago, who's, shown good grappling against Billy Goff recently. You see what I'm getting at here? It should be a Michael Chiesa win, though. I think he'll be faster. I think he'll win some key grappling exchanges. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think he'll be faster than Court McGee on the striking. I'll pick Chiesa. But old man Court McGee, if he came out there and surprised us at 40 years old, would I sit here and be like, no way, I can't believe it? Nah, I wouldn't. All right, let's see. Do we have any other odds here, or am I just using the Tapology odds? Can I not find them? Court McGee, Michael Chiesa, plus 330. Why? 4-1 Michael Chiesa. I get it. He looked good against Max Griffin, but it's Max Griffin, though. Max Griffin is not a good grappler. But I'll pick Michael Chiesa. It is what it is, man. I hate the odds being this wide. Minus 175 for the over. Chiesa could sub an older Court McGee, to be fair. Chiesa by sub is not crazy. Chiesa's got a live chance to take the aging McGee's back and pull off a sub like, this Tim Means neck crank. And I don't think McGee is subbing up Michael Chiesa. So I'm going to go with Chiesa for the dub. I think he'll beat the aging Court McGee, who looks tough in the fight, to say the least, though. And I'm not crazy about these odds. Not crazy about them. I don't like them. I think they're way too wide. I think a 4-1 Chiesa favorite against anybody is a little risky, especially a guy that can grapple well. If it was a striker, different convo. But nonetheless, I do think Michael Chiesa should win. Might make you sweat a bit, though. Next fight on the card, we have Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato, the rebooking. They were supposed to fight at the Apex a few cards ago, and now it takes place in the big cage. It makes it a better fight. I'm going to pick Bellato to win still. He pulled out of the last fight. I guess he had herpes. That was interesting, to say the least. I've never heard of a fighter pulling out due to herpes, but listen, he pulled out of the fight. Now he's back, ready to go. System is cleared up, I guess. Bellato's a heavy-handed brawler. You look at the striking. Paul Craig's got nice body kicks, but what, he's going to drop Bellato with a body kick? Paul Craig throws a lot of kicks. He's good with kicks. Paul Craig's a nice kicker. To be fair, Paul Craig's kicking skills are pretty good. But as far as his hands, they're pretty bad. They're very low, like kind of holds him down towards like his chest a bit. And he doesn't bring them up too fast. He tries to block punches with his guard at times. And if you overwhelm him with multiple shots and a big barrage, you can catch Paul Craig moving backwards. We've seen Paul Craig's chin tested a lot. Earlier in his UFC run, he was getting chin bad. And then he found his footing, and he's actually, kind of became like a meme of the UFC light heavyweight division for a while. But decided, hey, I'm going to drop down to 185 pounds. And he went 1-3 at 185. And now some years have gone by. I don't love his chances. I don't like his chances at all against a younger Bellato who does have strong grappling defense. I get it, the Jimmy Crute fight, but he did pull himself into that position. He literally pulled Jimmy Crute on top of him and then got fucked up on the ground and dropped in round one bad. But Bellato does not quit on himself. Say what you want. He's not super technical. He's not super athletic, but he's powerful. and he's big and he blitzes with huge shots and he's willing to take shots on the chin. And Paul Craig doesn't have much power. So how's Paul Craig to win? Pull guard, throw up a triangle or an armbar? I guess. What happens if Bellato just shoves him off? Or what if he starts dropping big ground and pound? I can see Craig not responding well to big shots from a big boy like Bellato in top position either. Bellato's got a big punching power advantage. He's going to be more primed. 1-5 in the last 6 is also the record for Paul Craig. You can't like that here, man. You can't. His only chance to win is submission, and I don't think that he has a high chance of dragging this fight to the ground. So he's going to probably have to pull guard. Wouldn't even shock me if he did pull guard. I don't like that. I think that Bellato's going to punch a hole in his face. I think he'll rip him with some heavy shots. I get the Poteria fight. He didn't look great, but you'll say one thing about Poteria, hand speed, for sure. Fast hands. The Jimmy Crute fight, it is what it is, but he showed insane grit and was coming on strong late. I think Bellato blitzes Paul Craig with wild punches, big hooks, backs him up, doesn't get taken down. Craig gets hit. I don't think he likes the feeling of these 205ers punching him in the face. I think that's why he dropped to 185 in the first place, because the damn fight against Johnny Walker, he's like, dog, these big motherfuckers hit hard. And now he takes on a big hitting motherfucker in Rodolfo Bellato. I think it doesn't go well. I'm going to say that Bellato KOs him. Odds for the fight, let's see. Bellato is a minus 350 favorite. He's not as wide of a favorite. I think he was 5-1 last card. So the odds have come down a bit. Same pick for me. Paul Craig is plus 285 as a large underdog. I get why people like Paul Craig. Like, yo, he'll take his back and choke him out. What if he throws something up? But I don't want to rely on the sub chance with a Paul Craig that doesn't seem to be in his prime anymore. I don't know where his head is at. He's lost 3 in a row. I get it, his back's up against the wall, but we say, oh, the back's up against the wall. He's definitely going to bring it. We've also seen the other side of it. His back's up against the wall and he just fucking goes down. I'm good. I'm good, man. I had a long career. Fuck it. I'm good. Paul Craig's been knocked out too many times. I think that, like, you get knocked out a fair amount early in your run, then you find your footing in the UFC, then you start getting beaten up again, and you're losing a kickboxing fight with Bo Nickel. I think Rodolfo Bellato is chinning you. So I'm going Bellato by KO. Fuck the over-under 1.5. Fight ends inside distance. Maybe under 2.5 would be something better. We'll see what the odds are on that later on in the week. But the pick for me is Rodolfo Bellato to do damage. Expect big punches. I think Paul Craig's rocked bad and dropped. And I think Bellato finishes him with big ground and pound shots. And maybe you guys will be disappointed in Paul Craig's willingness to just, like, accept defeat in this fight here. I'm going to say Bellato delivers a beating. Let's keep running. Next fight, main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We got Alonzo Menifield versus Oumar Sy. The prospect chance for Oumar Sy. I'm going to pick Oumar Sy to win against Alonzo Menifield. I really didn't like Alonzo Menifield's last fight. He took on Julius Walker, who came into that fight, I believe on short notice too, and brought a really tough pressure-based onslaught and had moments in the fight. Sure, Menifield cracked him with some power hooks, but, like, Walker was relentless in the clinch. And, you know, Walker's a decent enough talent, but he only had 6 pro fights. And then off rip, giving Menifield a run for his money. I don't know, man. Menifield lost 2 fights by back-to-back KO. Granted, Azamat Mirzakhanov's a monster. And, you know, Carlos Ulberg, also just a technical masterclass as far as his striking goes. But I just think Oumar Sy is pretty sharp. And I think Menifield, I mean, we kind of know his game. He's strong on the inside in the clinch. He throws big, wild power hooks. At times, he throws a standing hammer fist. He's a little bit unorthodox with his punches. He definitely can hit hard, but Oumar Sy minds his P's and Q's pretty well. I'd rate him as a technical kickboxer. He's actually got really good kicks. He likes to work the legs. He likes to work high kicks too. I see him throwing high kicks here. He's going to have a nice reach advantage of 7 inches, longer guy. I have to favor Oumar Sy if they tie up. I think he's technically more sound in the clinch and probably better with trips on the inside. Like, I could see if there is a grappling battle between the two inside of the clinch, I could see Sy as the one who comes out on top. And on top of all of that, I like Oumar Sy's jab. He's got a stiff jab, and Menifield, more of that blitzing, brawling pressure. I don't expect him to be sniping Sy from the outside. Instead, I think Sy can put some good straights on him. Like if Oumar Sy sticks to a stiff jab, I think you could rock Menifield with a jab and then follow it up with a dynamite straight shot, or maybe even throw that high kick as Menifield looks to retreat. I could see Oumar Sy threatening with the kicks up high and then, opening up body shots and knees on the inside. I think Oumar Sy gets past an Alonzo Menifield. I do. I think Sy's tactical. He's technically sound. He's improving each and every fight. I feel like he's a good prospect at 11-0. I got to favor the undefeated fighter. The Dawoon Jung fight, he was able to win a clear decision, but it's like not that impressive, right? The way you beat Dawoon Jung and you don't go out there and KO him. But people forget, bro, Dawoon Jung gave Carlos Ulberg a fucking run for his money. And look what Carlos Ulberg's gone and been able to do. So I'm not going to say, oh, not the best whenever he didn't knock out Dawoon Jung. And it's like, I'll write him off. Oumar Sy's good, man. He destroyed Tokos in the debut. Alcantara, bro. My God. Alcantara way back in the day. I remember him and his brother in the UFC. I think Oumar Sy can finish Alonzo Menifield. I think he can drop him with the straight. If he has to kickbox him up for 3 rounds and win a decision and then like outwork him in the clinch and maybe trip him to the ground, I think Sy can do that too. I don't think Sy needs a knockout per se. I mean, I think he needs it as far as like his stock moves, right? I think Oumar Sy needs a KO to build the lore of the Oumar Sy hype train some more, but I don't think that he needs a KO to win this fight. I think Sy could definitely out kickbox Menifield. Menifield's changed up teams a bit. I know he was training at Elevation for a bit in Colorado. Now he's with Fortis MMA. I think he was have Ryan Spann in the corner. I think Oumar Sy's too technically sound. I think Oumar Sy's good, man. I like the potential, bro. And rate something else about Oumar Sy. If you don't know, now you know. He's trained at American Top Team, bro. Really good gym. And I think with a young 29-year-old prospect, the ceiling is too high for me to pick a guy in Alonzo Menifield who does have some power, but won a close fight against Julius Walker. I think Oumar Sy can do bad things to Menifield. And I'll say Oumar Sy ends up getting a KO win too. He's a really wide favorite at minus 625. I mean, shit, the way I broke it down, you're thinking it's like 2-1. No, it's crazy wide. But it's one of those fights where it's like prospect that's expected to do something well in his UFC career versus gatekeeper. Plus 450 for Menifield. Menifield's like last impressive win was that Jacoby W, and he dropped Jacoby late. But I don't see it here like that. Minus 150 for the over 1.5. They got you playing risky with that over 1.5. Because I'll tell you, like, there's a chance that Oumar Sy could drop Menifield in the first round. He could overwhelm him with big shots. He could even get him on the ground and beat him up from top position. I think Sy is definitely the better fighter. And it's not really a matter of, if he gets it done. It's how and when. And I'm going to say KO. I think he finishes the fight. I think it's an inside the distance W. He's got this sub threat, but I feel like I'm seeing more ground and pound. How many subs? We got 4 subs. Oumar Sy by sub is not like the craziest take. I know Menifield never been subbed, but I never think of Menifield as like elite jiu-jitsu, right? Or crazy defensive grappling. It's just, putting him in a compromised spot and taking his back. You don't see it all the time, but I could see Sy threatening. But either way, I think that for me, I lean towards KO as the official method of victory prediction, but I do think Oumar Sy can beat Alonzo Menifield in essentially any type of fight. The way he loses is really if he just gets caught with a crazy barrage, and I think that he's too defensively sound, and I think his fight IQ is too high for that. I'll say Oumar Sy for the finish against Alonzo Menifield. Next fight on the main card, we have Cody Brundage versus Mansour Abdul-Malik. Another fight where we got prospect on the rise and we have guy that's, been on the roster a bit. But not, Cody Brundage is not to the same degree as Menifield as far as the gatekeeper status. He hasn't reached the same heights, to be fair. I mean, Menifield was ranked at one point. I'm going to pick Mansour Abdul-Malik. I'm going to go with the prospect again. I think Malik should beat Cody Brundage. Listen, I give Brundage respect. He's a hard-nosed wrestler, and he somehow turned his career around. He's 3-1-1 no contest in his last 5 fights. Granted, he was on his way to getting destroyed by Abdul Razak Al Hassan before the back of the head shots. Brundage does a good job at finding his ways to win, bro. He got the DQ win against Jacob Malhoun. Listen, if fucking Mansour Abdul-Malik bends the rules at all, right? If Mansour hits him with a shot to the back of the head or a knee when he's down, bro, expect a DQ win for Cody Brundage because if need be, Brundage will do what has to be done to get his win bonus. But I think that Mansour Abdul-Malik bullies him. Brundage has strong wrestling early, but he's not like some beastly wrestler, man. He's not. I mean, dude, Cody Brundage really doesn't have great control with his wrestling either. I mean, just think the Cedric was Dumas fight. Like, I get it. I think he came in on short notice, but either way, he got fucking controlled by Dumas on the ground bad. Cody Brundage has some wrestling, but he's not like this great wrestler. He throws power bombs, he brawls, he can get hit with big shots, and he can land big shots. Look at the back and forth fight with Julian Marquez, which was like a coin flip brawl. Mansour Abdul-Malik has the wrestling base, has the pressure striking style, has the knees to the body, has the athleticism. I think he's got the ground and pound. I think he's got the fitness. I think he's better at kickboxing from range for sure. I think he's the sharper striker between the two. And I think that he will finish Cody Brundage with ground and pound shots. I think he may drop him with a big punch on the feet or a big knee to the body on the inside and then finish him with big shots against the cage. He could also drag Cody Brundage to the ground and just beat the shit out of him. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, man. I think Mansour Abdul-Malik should be substantially better than Cody Brundage. I think he's going to be sharper with kickboxing. I think he's going to be the better offensive wrestler. I think he's going to have the better ground and pound. I'd say he's got the better jiu-jitsu. I don't see Cody Brundage beating a Mansour Abdul-Malik. Malik has overcome difficulty, like against Nick Klein. He was able to deal with the early storm. And you might say, oh, well, okay, well, Brundage could finish the job Klein started. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that Brundage could do okay in round one and then get finished in round 2 or 3. Malik seems to be in very good physical condition. What I like, too, is the mentality. He doesn't seem to lose faith, even if things are a little bit testy. Like, Mansour Abdul-Malik's going to keep on fighting. He's a relentless fighter who's looking for the finish at all times, and I think Cody Brundage gets wilted by that. I'm going to say Mansour Abdul-Malik with the knockout, ground and pound, or TKO in this fight here. I think Malik gets it done inside of the distance for sure. As far as the odds for the fight, Mansour Abdul-Malik is an 8-1 favorite. Wow, let's have some fun, guys. Let's have some fun. I'm about to drink some tea right now. I'm drinking a tea bag. Teabagging him, bro. Mansour Abdul-Malik knocks him out and teabags him, bro. Damn, bro. 8-1. And Malik's a great prospect. We got 2 really good prospects on this card that are, obviously in fights that the UFC is looking to build them with in front of a big crowd, being, Abdul-Malik and Oumar Sy. 8-1, though. Holy shit. Let's see. What's the over-under? Under 2.5 is it, but they got under 1.5 at -175. I think it probably goes under 1.5. If I had to pick it, I'll say yes, but I like under 2.5 more, but I'd expect that line to be really wide. Malik, huge favorite. He was 8-1. Now he's -725. He opened up at -750. Yeah, he should beat the shit out of Cody Brundage. So the pick here is going to be Mansour Abdul-Malik for a dominant, one-sided, ass-whooping type of W. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on the card, we got Cody Garbrandt versus Raoni Barcelos. I'm going to pick Cody Garbrandt. I understand it's easy to write off Cody Garbrandt. He went and got that face tattoo, and you're wondering where his head is at. Listen, look at the early striking exchanges with Davis and Figueiredo. He did well. On the feet with Davis and Figueiredo, Cody Garbrandt was cracking. Obviously, on the ground, he got absolutely destroyed, and I think that was the worst grappling that I had ever seen from him. But ultimately, Deiveson Figueiredo is a pedigreed world champion and still a top 7 contender in the bantamweight division. And at the time of that fight, Figueiredo was surging up the bantamweight ranks. So I have to say, I think that Cody Garbrandt now fighting Raoni Barcelos is definitely a more even ground matchup here. Cody Garbrandt's definitely still got fast hands. He's slick with his boxing, good hooks on the inside, definitely good timing. His takedown defense is normally pretty good, even though it was not against Figgy. Raoni Barcelos, I mean, listen, he was the supposed to be, but never was Brazilian contender. Like the comparisons to Jose Aldo, do you guys not remember those? He was supposed to be really good at one point. Has the, national wrestling base, good Muay Thai, heavy teep kicks, good body kicks. Raoni Barcelos is a powerful guy, for sure. He's physically strong, and he's pretty decent still now. But he's been checked several times, and we know that he's not amongst the elites, and it's like, is Cody Garbrandt? Maybe. I don't feel like Cody Garbrandt is washed at 33. I mean, he's almost 34. He'll be 34 in a few weeks, but like at 34, I don't think Cody Garbrandt is washed. I've said in the past, oh, he's washed. He's washed. I sometimes, get a little overzealous saying wash. He's not performing at the same level that he once was. But is he not UFC caliber? Is he going to get ran over like Peyton Talbot did? Is the former champ not going to put some resistance on those takedown attempts from Raoni Barcelos? And if they're striking, is Garbrandt not live as fuck to knock Raoni Barcelos out? Is Garbrandt that far removed from his best days that Barcelos is just going to dog walk him and strangle him at 38 years old? I don't think so. I think Cody Garbrandt's got a big speed advantage. I think he's got the punching power advantage. I think he's definitely the better boxer. I think Cody's going to defend the takedowns from Barcelos. I think he's going to crack him with punches on the feet. Barcelos was badly knocked out by Oumar Nurmagomedov, but it's not like we're saying Barcelos is chinny. I mean, you can look, 1 KO loss across his entire MMA career. Cody Garbrandt could find the chin, though. When Garbrandt's timing is on, and we get it every so often, it's been a bit, but when we get it, Cody Garbrandt is still terrifying on the feet. I think he can have a good performance here. And if it goes distance, I think Garbrandt could outstrike Barcelos for 3 rounds, fighting off that grappling attack. He's got so much better footwork. He's so much quicker. He's so much better at boxing. It's like the level jump is crazy. I really don't rate Barcelos as a high caliber boxer. His Muay Thai is okay. Wrestling is strong. Obviously, Peyton Talbot was getting taken down left and right, but like, Talbot couldn't defend the takedown to save his life. Those takedowns that he's hitting on Talbot, he's not hitting on Garbrandt. And Talbot still hit him with some decent punches. And I think Garbrandt hits him with some much better punches, some bigger punches, some cleaner punches, some more thudding punches. I'm going to say Cody Garbrandt goes out there and ends up delivering a kind of vintage performance, man. I don't see Cody No Love going to 14-7 as a pro. I don't see him as a 14-7 record. I see him at 15-6. And I think he gives Raoni Barcelos another loss here. And I think Garbrandt keeps his UFC career alive at 34. I think he's still got a little fight left in him. I think he's got some entertaining matchups left in him. I'm not writing him off because Davison Figueiredo destroyed him on the ground and subbed him. I think Cody No Love is still game. And I'm going to say Cody Garbrandt clips Barcelos with some big shots, and he might knock him out. He could win a decision too. KO or decision. As far as the odds, Cody's plus 145. I get it because as far as momentum goes, Cody Garbrandt has got a flat tire, okay? But in reality, skill for skill, Garbrandt can definitely match Barcelos and exceed his striking level for sure. Minus 170 for Barcelos as the favorite. I think Garbrandt's still got some fight left in him. I believe it. Over 2.5, minus 120. Close money for a reason. I think Garbrandt could clip him and put him out. I'm going to say Cody No Love as an underdog. At plus 145, I think Cody is more than live. I'm going to pick him to beat Raoni Barcelos and put on a bit of a boxing display here. And I think we're going to have some positive things to say come Saturday night or Sunday morning following this card. I'm going Cody Garbrandt to get the win and get back on track and make it 3 out of his last 4. I think he can do it in this matchup here. I like it for him. Next fight, we have the featured bout of the night. We have Edmen Shahbazyan versus Andre Petroski. I got to go with Edmen Shahbazyan. I flip-flopped a bit. Like, I didn't, pick flip in my head, but I was like, okay, wait, what's the Petroski path to victory? And, I try and see both sides. And with Petroski, it's like, okay, take down Shahbazyan and submit him. Not easy to do. Take down Shahbazyan and grind him out for 3 rounds. Not easy to do. Shahbazyan has lost to good oppositions, and he lost to GM3, who's a submission wizard. And to be fair, Petroski beat GM3 on that split decision, but different stylistic matchup, right? The grappling canceled out the grappling threat. And Shahbazyan had GM3 badly hurt, and GM3 had the comeback sub. Petroski is not known for coming back from damaging shots and submitting people. Andre Petroski is good when he's the bully. Good pressure-based striking style. His boxing is okay. Likes to fight out of southpaw for the most part, but he can switch it up. Decent body kicks. Definitely a bit of power in his hands, but he's not a knockout puncher. He's just kind of heavy-handed. Strong grappling base, strong wrestling, strong from top position, really good grappling defense. Beat Rodolfo Vieira and defended the grappling attacks of him, which I respect a lot. But Shahbazyan ain't here to grapple. Shahbazyan is here to strike, and his striking skills are sharp still. Timing is on point as fuck. The Budka knockout was sensational. It was vintage. And he had good striking moments against GM3 before selling. And then the fight before that, obviously Dobson came out hard, but he knocked out AJ Dobson. And then the fight before that, he lost to Fluffy Hernandez, who's a monster on the ground and a maestro of sub-threats. And still Shahbazyan had striking moments. Dolce Gambula, not a high-level win. The truth is, Edmen Shahbazyan hasn't beaten anybody good in a long time. Andre Petroski will be the best win for Shahbazyan since, 2019, when he knocked out Brad Tavares in the first round. He hasn't got a big win in a long-ass time, but he's gotten some wins, and he's gotten better, and he's 27 years of age. I think Shahbazyan can hurt Andre Petroski to the body. We saw Michel Pereira hurt him bad and stop him. Granted, it was back a year and 7 months ago, but I think that Shahbazyan can look good, man. I think his striking is too clean, and I don't think Petroski is bullying him to the ground and beating him up for 3 rounds, and I don't think he subs him. I do think Petroski could get him down and win a round. I think Petroski could press him up against the cage, but something's telling me Shahbazyan's takedown defense will look okay here, and Shahbazyan will land a well-timed counter shot. And I don't think Petroski is responding well to good boxing skills or good kickboxing, nasty body kicks, big knees to the body, big punches to the head. I think Petroski's getting rocked bad and stopped, man. I think the 27-year-old Edmen Shahbazyan still got some fight left in him. He's so young in this game, and he's always had good-ass potential, and his striking has always been super sharp. But this is like the test. Like, okay, we're going to give you a level jump now. We're going to give you a guy that can wrestle a bit, and he can crack a bit on the feet, and he's on a 3-fight win streak. He's 34. He's been on the UFC roster for a little while now. Only lost 2 UFC fights. To be honest with you, Andre Petroski is like quietly kind of went on a tear. He's 8-2 in the UFC, which is crazy impressive. And Edmen Shahbazyan on the opposite side, his UFC record 7-5, not nearly as impressive. But I think Shahbazyan's striking is definitely better. And it's really a matter of, does he get grapple fucked for 3 rounds? Can Petroski get him to the ground consistently, threaten with takedowns, and then mix in some striking? If he can get Shahbazyan to the mat, and he can threaten with some shots from top position, take his back, like he'd be live to choke him out. But as far as in the kickboxing range, Edmen Shahbazyan, sharp striking, good timing, clean on the feet. And if he can keep Petroski at range, he's going to do damage to him, big damage, clean shots for sure. I think Edmen Shahbazyan by knockout is live here. I can see him folding Andre Petroski with a big one. I get it, he's on a 3-fight win streak. Adolfo Vieira, grappling-based style. Dylan Butka, wrestling-based style, and also just got destroyed by Shahbazyan. Josh Fremd, just Josh Fremd, man. Tall, lanky, not very good. He's not finishing any of these guys. He's out-grappling them for sure. But I think Shahbazyan could stop these takedowns and land big shots. He's been in Extreme Couture a long time now. I'm expecting the wrestling defense to be better. I think his striking is sharp. I think his precision shots are definitely going to lead him to victory. I'm going to say Edmen Shahbazyan stops the scary Andre Petroski in this one and gets a knockout win and, you know, kind of keeps hope alive for himself. Now, he's a 2-1 favorite, which, you know, if you just looked at UFC records, you're like, yo, 8-2 versus 7-5, you'd think that fucking Petroski would be 2-1. But no, it's because of the, you know, past resume and the Shahbazyan striking style that he's a favorite. But don't be fooled by the lines. Like, the odds, this could be 50-50. -110 on both sides is fair because Petroski's path is grappling. Shahbazyan's path is striking. I'll say we see better grappling defense from Shahbazyan, and I think we see sharp striking per usual, and I think that's enough to stop a powerhouse like Andre Petroski in this one, man. I think Shahbazyan's too athletic and too fast. Over 1.5, -185. I'm going to say maybe on the over 1.5 because I think Shahbazyan KO chance is there. I can see him stunning Petroski bad on the feet. When Shahbazyan connects, he puts people down and out. And his kicking skills are sharp too. I think big body kicks could be a factor, and I think precise punching. I think Edmen Shahbazyan still got it, man. I could see him landing nice straight down the line, catching Petroski, hurting him, having Petroski overthinking, shooting takedowns because big shots are coming his way. Have Petroski panic wrestling and Shahbazyan hurting him and then getting the stoppage win and not selling like he did against Gerald Meerschaert and gassing himself out looking for the stoppage. I think if Shahbazyan hurts Petroski, he finishes the job. Shahbazyan for the W. Next fight, co-main event. We have Thug Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. I'm going to pick Thug Rose to beat Miranda Maverick in this fight. I think Doug Rose can handle. I want to say it truthfully, man. I feel like Miranda Maverick's overrated, man. Miranda Maverick's strong with her grappling. She's got decent takedowns, decent control, but not elite caliber. She's got pretty good striking. She's pretty thick for 125 pounds and being only 5'3", but she's definitely better suited for the women's strawweight division. And that's the weight class that Rose Namajunas dominated for years. Like, I think with Thug Rose, the factor of her taking L's at 125 is these bigger, stronger girls that can outmuscle her, outwork her, or strike her up from distance. When you give her a girl who's going to be shorter than her, when, the reach is within reason, point 0.5 advantage for Maverick, and Thug Rose, the better striker from range, I think this is a Thug Rose fight. She's going to have a clear-cut striking speed advantage. I think she's going to be a lot sharper with her kickboxing. I expect good straight shots to land. I don't think Maverick's all that impressive. Her last win is against Jamie Lynn Horth, and I remember being like, wow, I'm so underwhelmed with Miranda Maverick, who at one point was supposed to be like the prospect to watch. The Barboza win, I mean, it's impressive. She beat a powerful and strong Thai fighter like Barboza, but still, Danny Barboza is not Thug Rose. Andrea Lee W is cool. Priscilla Cachoeira sub is nice. The loss to Jazz Davicius is expected. Jazz Davicius is a power wrestler and just bullied Maverick, who's way smaller. I think Thug Rose is too quick, and I think she's too sharp. And I think Miranda Maverick's striking style, to say it truthfully, is too basic. She's very like average with her striking. She's got good output, and she's, usually able to outmuscle some of these girls that, let's be honest, for a lack of better terms, it's just not top caliber. Like, they're low caliber. I don't want to say shit. I'm about to botch them all. Shit. No, but they're not very good. Thug Rose Namajunas is like a good female fighter that is proven amongst the elites. I mean, look at her most recent losses. Like, just look, okay? Carla Esparza lost, that was years ago, and Carla Esparza is, one of the strongest wrestlers the women's strawweight division had ever seen. Manon Fiorot in a competitive striking fight when Rose broke her finger early in the fight, and it definitely changed the outcome. Went on a 2-fight win streak, beat Amanda Ribas, beat Tracy Cortez, and I think the Cortez win is definitely impressive at 125. Then she lost to Erin Blanchfield over 5 rounds, but I think Blanchfield's a monstrous prospect. I think Blanchfield will handle Miranda Maverick. And now we have a 3-round fight. I think Thug Rose is too sharp, too fast, takedown defense too good. I don't think Miranda Maverick's dragging her to the ground and beating her up. I think Miranda Maverick's going to get outstruck. I think she's going to get caught from range. I think she's going to be chasing Thug Rose a bit. And I think you'll see like the skill set level difference from one of the best female fighters on the planet and a girl who's decent. A girl who's right at top 15 level but isn't elite. Let's look at the odds. Wide towards Thug Rose, of course. Minus 280. Damn, plus 240. Miranda Maverick. Really wide odds here between the two, but not really a surprise because I anticipate Thug Rose to have the ability to technically outstrike her. And I see a big speed advantage. I see straights landing. Maverick, I don't want to say she stands square, but like a tad bit stiff, and the shoulders a little shifted square, and it like doesn't give her a ton of like insane mobility or footwork. Like, as far as like the levels of kickboxing go, Thug Rose is just so much more fine-tuned, and she's so much sharper. I think she's going to land a lot of clean shots, and I think Miranda Maverick is tough, and I think she's able to sit in there for 3 rounds, but I think Rose outworks her for 3. And if they tie up and go to the ground, I can see Rose winning a battle of scrambles. Now she's minus 265, even better. Over 2.5, minus 450. I'm thinking Thug Rose is being 5 round. Open it up at minus 205. I think those are fair odds. I think Thug Rose Namajunas should be the favorite here. I think she should win the fight. I think that her technical striking advantage is clear, being a former world champion and fighting a girl that is a frame more seen at 115 pounds, just with a little extra weight on her. I think this is definitely a Thug Rose fight. So the pick is going to be Thug Rose by unanimous decision. Too clean, too sharp, and still too primed at 32 years of age, nearly 33. I think Rose still got maybe another run in her. I think she at least got an Alexa Grasso fight. And that's one I want to see. Let's keep running. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley. The comeback of Usman. I'm going to pick Joaquin Buckley, though. Usman's so last generation, man. He's the other era. Joaquin Buckley's on a tear right now. I'm going to overlook a tear like this and pick Usman because what maybe he could do. I can't. Joaquin Buckley's striking is dangerous as hell. His boxing, not so much like a slick, crisp boxer like you're thinking of Jack Della multi-shot combos. It's explosive blitzes, and he just has a special ability to close the distance and land big power shots. On top of that, Joaquin Buckley has actually pretty good wrestling. He's got solid takedowns in his fights. And, against Usman, dragging the, former dominant champion to the ground and, beating him up with wrestling, maybe not. But I do think Buckley's wrestling defense is definitely going to work in this fight here. I don't think Usman is dragging Buckley to the ground and beating him up. And Usman, even when you think of him in his prime, the flaw to his game is I always felt like he was a little bit stiff in the way that he stood, but he made up for it with thunderous straight shots, really good ability to control people against the cage. And, some of the matchups that were rinse and repeats, the rematch tours that he went on when he was the champ. Not saying that he isn't an impressive champ. Usman is still a really great champion, and he's a dangerous fighter. And you know what? Even gave Khamzat, a tough enough 3-round fight on short notice, but let's not act like he didn't get manhandled early. And now, after a year and 7 months off, jumping into a main event spot against Joaquin Buckley, who's been active as hell. He's fought 3 times over the past year. He's gotten big W after big W. I mean, bro, viciously slept Wonder Boy. Before that, beating Sultan Riziboyev, who's a giant, and, he dominated him on the ground. Vicente Luque, before Luque was like definitely washed. Obviously, the Alex Morono win wasn't as impressive. Colby Covington stoppage. I know Colby did drag him down a little bit in the fight, but Colby wasn't doing shit. He was getting busted up on the feet. And I don't know where Usman's body's at 38 years of age. We know that he was out for a while because he was trying to recover the knees, man. Usman has bum knees. When you look at the style, though, let's say we have the Usman that lost to Khamzat or the Usman that lost to Leon. He looked like he was a step slower against Leon Edwards. That was his most recent fight at 170 pounds. And he lost a hard-fought decision, but he definitely got outworked, outstruck, and looked to lose that Usman ability to just land big straights and like bully people. That bullying factor of Kamaru Usman, which I think made him so great, was completely taken from him as he was violently slept by a head kick against Leon Edwards. Like, he hasn't came back with that same essence since that point. Even if he put up a decent fight with Khamzat and a decent fight against Leon in the trilogy. Joaquin Buckley has a big boxing advantage, big power advantage, big explosiveness advantage. He's been fighting super consistently, and he's a sharpened blade. A year and 7 months ago, he has had 5 fights since the last time we seen Usman fight. So I got a super active Joaquin Buckley who's getting better each and every time he fights, has good wrestling defense, has good wrestling offense, has big punching power, used to fight at middleweight and had power at middleweight too, taking on a Kamaru Usman who's cutting himself down to 170, hasn't fought in a year and 7 months, and that was the short notice fight against Khamzat. Knees are gone. What's he going to do? He's going to land a big straight and drop Buckley. He's going to just out wrestle him for 5 rounds. He's going to back him up against the cage, and we're going to get a Usman versus Masvidal 1 replayed. I think Buckley's going to be way too resilient to just getting bullied. And I think Buckley's going to be dropping hammers on Kamaru Usman as Usman attempts to enter close range. And I think about Usman getting caught by big overhands by Gilbert Burns and stunned a bit early in their fight back in the day when Usman was in his prime, when Usman's chin was legendary, when he was in the best shape of his life, when he couldn't be beat, what it seemed like. And now I'm thinking of him at 38. Those same shots that Buckley throws probably better than Gilbert Burns did, more precise than he did, getting ripped over the top, an explosive combination. I think Usman's getting hurt in this fight. I feel like we're going to see Joaquin Buckley drop Usman. Does he knock him out? I'm thinking Buckley might knock him out. I'm thinking Buckley might chin Usman. If he beats him on a decision, I think Buckley does damage. And I think Usman looks slower than you've ever seen. But I'm telling you, I think a counter shot KO. I think that year and 7 months off, I think the knees being gone, taking on a Buckley who's very precise with his explosive blitzes and attacks. Like, this isn't really a great matchup for Usman to come back to. Like, okay, you haven't fought in a while, right? And now we're going to throw you a guy who's got serious power. We're going to throw you a guy who's really athletic. I think this is nightmare for Usman. I think that he's going to get caught with overhand shots. I think you're going to see hooks / overhands from Buckley land. And I think Usman's going to get stunned bad by one of them. And I can see Usman getting dropped and going out and finished off with ground and pound. I can see Usman looking really bad in this fight and getting knocked out in devastating fashion where, like, if you're a fan from his era, you're sitting here and you're like, yo, I kind of feel bad for Usman getting knocked out like that. Like, that's the end of it. And I think Joaquin Buckley is just too on fire right now. I'm going to go with the guy who's been fighting elite competition recently. Granted, I guess, is elite it? I mean, Colby Covington's on the resume of Usman twice, so it's close to elite. Good competition, at least. A guy who knocked out Wonderboy in vicious fashion. If you can knock out Wonderboy with a precise shot, I think you can knock out an aging Usman with a precise shot, too. Especially an Usman whose knees are said to be gone. And Usman, who I don't see dragging this fight to the ground, or I don't see dropping Buckley with straights. At 38 years old, I don't know what Usman has left in the tank. I'm going to say Joaquin Buckley is able to get past the biggest test of his life, the biggest fight of his life, the biggest chance ever. I think big shots over the top of the ultimate difference maker. Buckley's hand speed and hand power is too much. And I think the grappling defense is there. I could see Usman holding him up against the cage a little bit, but I think Buckley's going to fight his way out and let some big punches fly. And I think you're going to notice a speed difference between the two, and you're going to see that Usman's timing is a bit off, and you can't have off timing against a power hitter like Joaquin Buckley. And I think Buckley is going to drop Usman, put him down and out. I'm going Buckley KO. I think he's about to end Usman violently and put an end to the fucking career, potentially, of Usman, who'll be down 4 in a row. It's one of those situations, back against the wall for Usman. Hasn't fought in a year and 7 months. I don't care you're back against the wall. I don't know if you can perform anymore. But I know Joaquin Buckley can. I know right now Joaquin Buckley can give tough fights to anybody in the UFC top 10 welterweight division. Anybody. Any of them. Any of them. He can give tough fights to. Could Kamaru Usman keep up with the pace of some of these other guys? And now he's going to get through Buckley? I don't see it. I don't think he can keep up with Buckley. And I think we're going to see career-changing moment as Joaquin Buckley becomes a legitimate top contender with the finish of Kamaru. Plus 210 for Kamaru Usman. Joaquin Buckley minus 250. I think Usman cutting to 170. It ain't going to be an easy cut. And I think the chin's going to be a little withered from it too. The over is minus 120. It should be. Should be close money. Could Buckley win a 5-rounder? Absolutely. He could win a hard-fought fight against Usman. Absolutely. They could go 5 hard and be technical with one another and both have moments, but Buckley landed bigger shots and being faster and, winning the key exchanges. But I also see the counter shot KO. So I'm going to say Buckley KO, but KO or decision, right? What is he going to lock him in a ghillie? Buckley's a minus 250 favorite. Really wild to see the former world champion as more than a 2-1 underdog against Buckley here when you think back to his reign years ago. But it makes a lot of sense. Layoffs in this game amongst the elites, especially a division like welterweight, which lately has been more on fire than like any other weight class. I think you got to be competing often to compete against some of the best. I think they should have gave Usman more of a tune-up fight. Shit. You could run a trilogy against friggin' Colby Covington to give him a little lighter touch on the comeback. Not being serious by that, but you get what I mean? Like throwing him Buckley, who's on a tear right now, running through the welterweight division and looks like a problem for the top of the top, who looks like he could give Jack Della a tough fight too right now, the champion. I can't pick a 38-year-old Usman, and I won't. I'm picking Buckley by knockout, and I think he has the breakout performance that I've been waiting for his whole career, the chance of a lifetime in Atlanta. And I think Buckley delivers in emphatic fashion. And I think Usman's going down. And maybe Usman's last dance too. I don't know where his health is at. Can't predict it. But I know he's had a lot of struggles with those knees for a long time. I know he was off for a year and 7 months for a reason. And I think at 170 pounds, draining the body down, I can't predict that he looks better than his last fight against Khamzat. I can only predict he looks worse. And I think he looks, even worse in the fight against Leon last time out. And Buckley's got a different style of striking with the hands being the danger factor. I think Usman is more susceptible to big punches too. I mean, obviously Leon knocked him out with a head kick, but rinsing and repeating that perfect head kick twice, unlikely. Granted, Buckley's got good head kicks as well. Can you imagine he looks to try to copy Leon and he throws up a high kick on Usman and lands? That'd be fucking crazy. That'd be terrible for Usman. I actually feel really bad if he's head kick KO'd twice in his past 4 fights. But I'll say Buckley knocks him out, but it's with punches. I think big shots land. We'll see if the legendary Usman chin is still there, because at one point it was iron. Don't know if it is now, but I definitely feel like it's Buckley's time. Joaquin Buckley to beat Kamaru Usman in the main event of UFC Atlanta is going to be the prediction to cap off the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the full card predictions for this card. Let me know in the comments what you think of the picks. I want to hear from the people. Any picks you disagree with, and then let me know the ones you like locked in with me. Like, yo, I see eye to eye with you. And especially main event. I want to see if there's any Usman's witnesses out there. Are there any believers that Usman still has a couple of wars left in him and can maybe get back to the higher level? Against a Surgeon Buckley, I don't think it goes well, man. I don't think so. I'm going to say Buckley handles. So let me know in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Definitely W in the comments too if you got nothing to say. I love each and every one of you savages. Thank you guys for 48,500 subscribers during the Fight Companion for UFC 316. We're popping off, and you guys were absolutely fantastic. So W to the community. Smash the like button on your way out. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a video or a live stream like the Lunchtime Live, which is coming at you every single weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it. Much love, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.